Hey guys, welcome to today's episode on our YouTube channel.
We left our hard drive in California and we're really sorry.
Pretty much, sum it up. So we have amazing footage from California. Kite festival, what else did we do? Rodeo, so many cool things, but we don't have that to show you. So we're going to have to put a hold on that episode of the vlog.
We first met in 2012. Little did we know that 5 years later, we would begin a journey of love and adventure that crossed 2 continents. Now we're married and living in the Westfjords of Iceland. We are Seth and Agnes.
What is tomorrow?
It's our 3-month anniversary.
I can't believe how fast time has flown. But we were thinking of doing a special episode today where we just talk about marriage since it's our 3-month anniversary special.
And we are wise.
We are wise, very marriage wise.
Yes.
We have so much experience.
Yeah.
Not. But we can share what we've learned. And also, I mean, we've been dating for quite a while. And we also had long distance experience and travel experience and now marriage experience. We're just like, we're so wise.
It's even getting gray hairs.
Yeah. So I reached out to you guys on Instagram and I got a lot of amazing responses, questions that you guys wanted to ask us. So I'm going to go ahead and read those now. Have you seen any of these questions? You've seen a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen a couple.
Not all of them.
Okay. I want to learn how to use it myself.
Instagram. We're not gonna answer all of these.
Yeah, there's a couple questions we're not gonna answer.
Our house is good.
Yes, our house is locked.
It's locked.
It's
Nobody can break into it except for us.
Yeah, you know who you are, and that's your answer. Did y'all have a hard time sleeping at the beginning? Like waking up whenever they moved? So, funny thing, before we got married, we talked about this, and we decided that she moved more than me.
Yeah.
Because...
Which I don't think that's necessarily not true, but he sold me on the idea that he didn't move at all.
Because I go to sleep in one position, and I wake up in one position.
That's just not true. The nice thing is, like, on our honeymoon, we had a king-size bed, and so we were fine. And now we are sleeping in a full-size bed. And I quite frequently wake up with you, like half on top of me.
I think that's because you're
pillow.
moving, though, and so it keeps me awake. And then I move. Yeah.
I'm like all the way on the edge of my side of the bed, and then he comes like, hoo, close up, and then flops over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've woken up before and you took my pillow. Because
That's
he doesn't
true.
sleep with a pillow.
Well, usually I sleep on my back, and I don't use a pillow. But sometimes when I turn to my side, I need a pillow. So I have
guess
to get
which one you take.
So, yeah. Did we have a hard time sleeping at the beginning?
No.
Not necessarily.
Do we now? Yes.
Yeah, I think we need a bigger bed.
Yeah.
But it's okay because we just make them.
Yeah, this one came with the apartment we're renting, so.
Yeah. What's been the one random daily thing, like squeezing the toothpaste different, that surprised you guys the most? Maybe we need to think about this one a second.
So you do squeeze the toothpaste a little bit different. You just like to use every ounce and I can't throw the toothpaste away until everything's out of there.
Yeah. But that's my mom's training.
But I think we squeeze it the same. We squeeze our toothpaste the same. This isn't a daily thing, but when we watch movies, you like to pause. If anybody has a comment, you like to pause it.
Yeah, no, she'll try to talk through the movie. You can't talk through the movie.
I don't talk through the movie. I just make a comment like, oh, that's funny. And then he pauses it and looks at me. And I'm like, that's all I had to say.
That's all she had to say.
That's all. I did not need
The
a
other thing
conversation
is,
for that.
you'll be like knitting while we're watching. I can't. I have to watch because there's so many details in a movie. Like there's, little background characters and there's little things that are happening and, you have to hear all the conversation.
I hear
and
everything.
You just, sometimes I say, oh, that makes sense because did you catch it? And she didn't catch it. So we have to go back and rewind it. So, yeah, different ways of watching movies.
I don't even know if there is a random daily thing.
Not really a marriage question. How is the immigration process for Iceland? The immigration process for Iceland is actually quite easy. I have already applied. I can't talk today. I have already applied for my residency, which legally gives me the ability to work here in Iceland, and.
But only because you're married to an Icelandic citizen.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't go for anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different process.
Otherwise, you have to apply for a work visa, and once you get that, you can work.
Or a student visa, and then you can study but not work. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, I'll be starting work as a nurse, which is really exciting and really scary. Agnes has already told me about some of the differences that she's experienced because I've talked to her about what it's like being a nurse in the U.S. So that'll be a huge learning opportunity, learning what nursing is like in another country, as well as learning the language, because I will need to figure out the language eventually, which that's coming slowly but surely.
Yeah. American citizens can come to Iceland and stay here for 3 months without a visa or anything. So you stayed here within the last 6 months. So 3 months within the last half a year. And so you stayed here for a little bit, and now your Schengen 90 days are over. So now you can't leave Iceland. You could leave Iceland and go to the States or somewhere outside of Europe, but you can't
come back
into
Iceland.
Yeah,
because once I leave Iceland, I can't come back in. So yeah. I'm just like a resident alien.
It's like a little prisoner.
Yeah. What's your most common conflict?
When we have a misunderstanding and then we feel like we need to over-explain everything. Yeah. And then it just leads to a little bit more of a misunderstanding. And then we just get a little annoyed.
Yeah, I'd probably say the most common conflict is over-explaining, just kind of when somebody doesn't quite understand what the other one says, then they feel the need to explain why, I guess the need to be right. The need to convince the other person that you're right.
Well, I feel like that's just how you interpret it.
Are we explaining this too much?
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I don't feel like I need to be right. I feel like I need to be heard. And so when you don't understand what I'm saying, I don't feel heard, not as much as I feel wrong.
This is an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, we haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, you just don't feel heard. Maybe I just need to repeat what you say.
Yeah.
Then.
Look at this. We're going through marriage counseling with
y'all. How do you resolve conflict? By talking. Talking. We talk a lot.
Yeah. I think the most important thing about resolving conflict is actually being willing to talk and explain things. I feel like a lot of times I just don't really feel like talking about it because I feel silly, or I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal. But if you are, and you've been really good at that, whenever I come and say something like, hey, I feel this way, and I'm like, I know it's dumb, and you're like, no, if you're feeling it, it's valid. And so just being open and listening to each other, but also being able to be completely honest with each other, I feel like is the best way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Feelings are exceedingly deceitful and yada yada, but they're also very real and very valid. Yeah. And when you're experiencing it, yeah, it might be a stupid feeling, but you're still feeling it. And so sharing that with your spouse is absolutely, and I mean this is relationship stuff that we've learned, over the time we've been dating as well. If you're feeling a feeling, it's okay to talk about it because it's real to you, and sometimes you just need to talk it through and realize that it is a silly feeling.
Yeah, and then you're good.
Then it goes away.
Yeah, but you also need to realize that your feelings are not always an accurate representation of what is actually going on in the relationship, which is why it's good to talk about it to get clarity and hear somebody else's take on it or their side.
When are you coming back to the States? Well, we were just there for 2 weeks in California where we left our hard drive with all our footage. I still have PTSD about that, but it's okay.
Soon as possible.
So I can't, like I said with the immigration thing, I cannot leave Iceland right now, otherwise I won't be able to come back. So, yeah, we don't have any plans at this point.
But
not sure.
We are applying for my visa to go back to the States.
Yes. That's a whole nother story. Let's see. How do you maintain your boundaries? Winky face. Well, the nice thing is
what boundaries? I feel like going from dating into marriage, it's a shift of boundaries. Like before marriage, it's boundaries within. Like it's boundaries between me and Seth. Like what we've decided we're going to do and what we have decided we're not going to do. And then once you get once you get married, those boundaries kind of fall down and you start putting boundaries around yourselves, like around as a couple.
Even outside of the physical boundaries, we still have emotional boundaries that we need to honor between ourselves. But I think it just shifts a little bit. This was one of the best advice that we had. If the spouse is not comfortable with something, then don't question it, don't push it, just, go with that. I think there's just been a couple times that we've needed to talk through things, but we just taught, again, communication. Communication is the biggest way that we've maintained our boundaries. Having that trust, having talked about things, like I know she's not going to go out and start breaking down emotional boundaries with a guy, and I'm not going to go out and start breaking down emotional boundaries with a girl because we have that safe marriage.
Yeah. I think also just having the respect, like you said, if one person says something, like I'm not comfortable with this, then that goes, then if Seth's not comfortable with something, I'm not going to harbor, all these feelings, and be mad about that he doesn't feel comfortable with it, but have the respect of, okay, there is a reason why he's not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And to just talk things through.
How does she feel about being the breadwinner? Well, yeah, well, what am I answering this question for?
I really haven't thought of it as being the breadwinner, I guess. I just thought of it as this is the situation that we're in right now. This is the season we're in. Seth wasn't able to work. And I like work. I love the hospital I'm working at. I'm learning a ton. And I guess I'm just thinking of it more as a learning experience that I'm just very lucky to get paid for. I feel great. I don't think of it as the money that I worked for.
Yeah.
It's ours.
I think I'm going to touch on that. It's kind of interesting with us because right now, for the last little bit, she's been the breadwinner. And then now I'm going to start working, so we're going to have dual income. But then as soon as we go back to the States, probably for a year, how long is it?
I don't know how long it's going to be.
It might be a long time that she won't be able to work, and so it'll just be me making money. But one of the best things that we've decided is we look at our marriage as a team. We're a team working together, and so it doesn't really matter who's bringing in the money. We both use that money for what we both decide. Yeah. And so we kind of look at it as, well, managing the home front, managing work, managing the money, we all do it together. And as that shifts over time, as we work together, and then as I mainly work, and then she probably goes and volunteers at an animal shelter, we're still working as a team and coming together, talking about our finances.
Yeah, we have little meetings, financial meetings.
Yeah, we do,
where
a lot.
We're like, this is what we have, this is our expenses, this is what we're going to pay down on our loans, just like that, and then this is what we have to use. And then whenever we make a purchase, especially like a big one, we talk to each other about it. Like,
Yep.
hey, is this okay? And are you on board with this?
Yep.
'Cause it's our money.
How does she tolerate all your Instagramminess?
With a lot of grace. No, I don't mind it.
I was gonna say she's jealous because she wants to do Instagram a lot, but she just
I just don't.
doesn't. Yeah, we even started a dual account so we can kind of post
A joint account.
a joint account.
Yeah.
Yeah, a joint account. And I found myself running the joint account and my own account, and so
And I ran no account.
yeah, and she ran no account. And so, I don't know, I think we'll kind of let the joint account just lie and see what we want to do with that.
We'll
But
see.
I think I only have time for my account.
And I only have time for my account.
So, yeah, but we like sharing stuff, and I definitely like sharing stuff, and then she does too. She doesn't mind it, and so she appreciates that I edit the videos every week, and you did edit the last video.
I did.
I was proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, edit the videos, post Instagram. But again, this is your question, so that's just how I feel.
Oh yeah. I admire both how often you post, but also just your captions. I feel like if I was better at writing captions, I would post more. But I just get stuck on the caption. And so then I don't post.
You could just
You know it's true. I come to you with all my captions.
you could just start a new trend on Instagram and be like, "This is a selfie," or
This
"Look
is
at the
Seth
tree.
and I.
This is Seth and I." Yeah, just start a new trend.
I should do that. I'm gonna.
It would be so real and raw. Like
Right.
this is a yeah.
Yeah, in the age of all of this Instagram versus real life. Hashtag.
What's your favorite way to connect with each other?
Here. We are now connected by the index finger.
That
Yeah.
is our favorite way, by the index
Yeah,
finger.
yeah. See, the thumb just doesn't really work.
No.
I really like connecting through reading books or listening to podcasts because it's like you're processing ideas together. And so you're getting in new information or new stories, and you're able to talk to each other about, you know, what was your take on it? What was your, like, how did you feel about that? Is that right or is it not? Like, I don't know, I really like connecting through books and podcasts.
Yeah. My biggest love language is time. And so I just like spending time together where we can have meaningful conversations. Like yesterday, we went on a hike. And
We went on a 4-hour hike.
yeah,
7 kilometers.
it was a pretty long hike. But it was just really nice to go on the hike and not have any distractions. It was just us, and had my phone so we could still capture some beautiful pictures. And yeah, just talking, and we talked a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Best and worst part of marriage. I think we should have read through these before we started filming.
Best and worst part.
I'll start with the worst part of marriage. No, man, what would I say
I know.
for this?
The worst part about marriage
Is what?
is you have double the amount of dishes to wash.
Yeah, but I'm the one that washes all the dishes.
You have twice the amount of cooking to do.
True. No, I think
No. I really can't think of anything. I mean,
marriage has been pretty awesome. I don't know why they didn't tell us it was so much fun.
would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I feel like everything's great on different levels. Like if it's not super fun and super lovely, like a dance on roses, then it's growing. And that's good too.
Yeah, I was gonna say marriage isn't necessarily a fantasy Disney tale, but it's just really fun because it's doing life, but with your best friend, and so it just makes, I don't know, there's somebody you can always like talk to or do stuff with, and
Yeah, I grew up with no siblings in the same house as me. I have 2 siblings, but they're older and lived in a different country. But I always wanted to either have siblings or live next to my best friend or even live with my best friend. And I just feel like now that dream has come true, and it was just as great as I had hoped for. I was right. I knew it would be great living with my best friend.
right?
Yeah, my mom and dad always thought I'd get tired of them.
Well, we're only 3 months in, so the other thing I think is really funny, we've heard it from so many different couples. Well, as long as you can survive, the first year, as long as you can survive, some people said 20 years. This one lady,
Yeah, well, I've heard people that are like, just get past year 5, or like, year 5 is the hardest year.
Yeah,
or
and I heard one lady say year 7 is the hardest year. If you can get past year 7, and then she was like, that's when we had trouble. And I think that's what it kind of comes down to, is each couple is so different.
Yeah.
So if if you've just gotten married, or if you're looking at getting married, I think the thing that we did, and my advice to you, is just kind of throw that out, because each couple is different. You're going to have challenges at different stages in your relationship. Just like with our dating relationship, people said the same thing, well, if you can get past the first year, you're set. Or if you can get past 2 years, then, or you should date longer than that. Like, every couple is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I feel like that kind of sets you up for, I don't think that mindset sets you up for success. Because if somebody had come to us and been like, hey, the first year is the hardest, or the second year is the hardest, the first year is amazing, like, then it kind of gets you into the mindset of, oh, the first year is the hardest, I'm going to work super hard the first year just to make sure that this is good. And then after the first year, you're like, whew, we survived, we're good, and you're not going to work as hard. And I just feel like you always have to work towards improving your marriage and improving your connection. And if you have this like box in your mind that this certain part is the hardest part, then, I mean, it's not true. Like, it's going to be different for every couple. You're going to go through different seasons, and you're going to have different life experiences. I mean, no couple goes through the exact same thing, and they don't respond the exact same way.
Yeah. And, if you're told that the first year is amazing, like honeymoon phase throughout your first year, and then the second year is difficult, I don't know, then for me it's kind of like, well, what are we going to face in our second year? How can we get prepared for that? But, like, you don't need that stress. Just focus on each day as it comes, and continue to build your marriage. I think for us, we're always reading, like, relationship advice books and talking about it.
To keep learning and to keep getting better techniques and stuff. But I was also going to say, if you have heard that your first year is going to be this continual honeymoon phase, and then you get into marriage and that just happens to be harder for you, don't get discouraged. Like, don't all of a sudden be like, what's wrong with us? Like, I married the wrong person. That's not true. Like, that just is a showcase that the person that gave you that advice, their first year was their honeymoon phase. Doesn't have to be your year.
Yep. And I think this is the last question. What is your favorite part of married life so far?
Hey, you're always here.
Aww.
I think just, I don't know, like, making rhythms together. Like, eating supper together, or eating breakfast together, and then, like, playing Yahtzee after supper, and just, like, small rhythms, reading together before going to bed.
Yeah, I think...
Like, making our life.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the nice thing about us is when we got married, we totally stripped any semblance of our old life away and created a new married life. I mean, we're living in the West Fjords of Iceland in a 2,500 population town.
In a town we'd never been to before.
Yeah, I mean, we drove here.
We knew no one.
We drove around the corner and there was Ísafjörður, and we're like, that's our home for the next, well, we thought like 3 months, but we're going to be here at least till December, so.
Getting a good foundation.
Yep. I would highly recommend Marriage. 10 out of 10.
But only with the right person. For you.
Yes.
Don't rush into it. I can 100% say that this would not be as fun if it wasn't with them.
That's true. And it would not be half as amazing without Agnes. Yeah, and that's is there the one out there for you? Well, that's a topic for another YouTube video. Alrighty guys, we have been rambling enough. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about our 3 months of marriage.
If you have anything else you want to ask, either DM us or leave a comment below. Remember to subscribe.
Click the bell to be notified.
Like this video.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.